I don't think that the team needs that inspiration. It was a great moment for South Africa so long ago.
The 2026 World Cup is the largest in the tournament's history. For the first time, 48 teams will compete, up from 32, playing a record of 104 matches across 39 days. This is more than 40 games than the previous edition in Qatar. To fit the bigger games, organizers created an entirely new knockout round, the round of 32, which has never existed at a men's World Cup before. The teams are split into 12 groups of 4, and the tournament runs from June 11th to July 19th, 2026. It's the first format change since 1998. A tournament this size has never been attempted, and whether it runs smoothly is a quiet question hanging over the whole event. For the first time in history, 3 nations are sharing a single World Cup. The United States, Canada, and Mexico will stage matches across 16 cities, with the United States holding 78 of the 104 games, including every match from the quarterfinals onward. Canada and Mexico host 13 each. Only once before has the tournament been split between countries, when Japan and South Korea shared it in 2002. With this edition, Mexico becomes the first nation ever to host the Men's World Cup 3 times, after 1970 and 1986. For Canada, it's the very first time hosting the men's tournament at all. Estadio Azteca in Mexico City is about to do something no other venue has done. On June 11th, 2026, it opens a tournament with Mexico facing South Africa, becoming the first stadium in history to host matches at 3 separate World Cups. It staged the finals in both 1970 and 1986, which makes it the only ground on Earth where both Pele and Diego Maradona lifted the trophy. The stadium also sits at a remarkable altitude, roughly 7,300 feet above sea level. Few buildings in sport carry this much history. Curaçao has done something no country its size has ever managed. Home to only about 156,000 people, it has become the smallest nation by population ever to reach a World Cup. To put that into perspective, it is less than half the size of Iceland, the previous record holder. Curaçao is one of the 4 debut nations this year, alongside Cape Verde, Jordan, and Uzbekistan. Cape Verde, with around 525,000 people, is the 3rd smallest nation ever to qualify. The expanded format opened the door, and these small nations walk straight through it. Uzbekistan has made history as the first Central Asian nation ever to reach a men's World Cup. For 34 years, the country had come close and fallen short in the final rounds. A near miss that stung an entire football-loving nation again and again. This time, they finally crossed that line. Adding to the storyline, the team is guided by Fabio Cannavaro, the Italian who captained his country to World Cup glory in 2006. A debutante nation led by a former world-winning captain is exactly the kind of subplot the expanded tournament was designed to create.
Italy were trying to avoid disaster and missing their 3rd consecutive World Cup. Truly unheard of.
Italy will not be at the 2026 World Cup, and that absence is one of the biggest shocks in modern football. The 4-time World Cup champions fell in the qualifying playoff to Bosnia and Herzegovina on penalties on March 31st, 2026. Missing the tournament for the 3rd straight time. For a nation like Italy, it's almost unthinkable to go this long without entering into the World Cup. The last time Italy actually appeared in the World Cup was 2014, more than a decade ago, and their coach stepped down by mutual agreement within days. Meanwhile, the larger field welcomed back nations absent since the 1970s. The 2026 World Cup carries the richest prize fund the tournament has ever offered. In December 2025, FIFA approved a record $655 million in performance-based prize money, a 50% jump from the previous edition. The winning nation alone will take home $50 million, the largest payout ever for a World Cup champion. Even a team that exists in the group stage is guaranteed around $9 million. And with separate preparation payments, every nation leaves with at least $10.5 million. Remarkably, not a single new stadium was built for this tournament, a sharp contrast to the enormous construction bills of the past. The 2026 final at MetLife Stadium will break a more than 90-year tradition by staging the first halftime show in World Cup history. Inspired by the Super Bowl, the performance is being curated by Coldplay's Chris Martin, with a lineup reported to include some of the biggest names in music. For the first time, the tournament will also hold 3 separate opening ceremonies, one in each host nation. Even the official ball is unusual, built from just 4 panels, the fewest of any World Cup ball, with a motion sensor inside feeding data to the video review system.
The heat is a great equaliser, so we could see maybe some unexpected results if you've got a top team who hasn't prepared.
The 2026 World Cup faces a challenge no amount of planning fully resolves: the summer heat. Researchers studying the 16 host cities warned that a large share of matches could be played in risky conditions, with one analysis finding that roughly a quarter of the 104 games may exceed the safety limits recommended for players. Organizers responded by steering daytime matches toward air-conditioned indoor stadiums and pushing high-risk open-air games to evening kickoffs. And they also added mandatory hydration breaks.
Ticket prices for FIFA's World Cup final are now going for nearly $11,000.
World Cup 2026 is the first to use dynamic demand-based ticket pricing, and the results have drawn serious scrutiny. The most expensive final tickets, first offered at around $6,730, later rose to nearly $11,000, with resale listings climbing far higher. In late May of 2026, the Attorney General of New York and New Jersey formally questioned FIFA over its ticketing practices, pointing to reports that prices across most matches had risen by an average of about 34%. The tournament is also the most spread out ever, with its 2 furthest venues, Vancouver and Mexico City, sitting roughly 2,700 miles apart. For traveling fans, the tournament of a lifetime may also be the most demanding one yet. Another thing to note about the 2026 World Cup is that there was a lot of promise by FIFA to various hotel companies, promising that there was going to be a big boom in tourism, but it appears that many fans are deciding to sit this World Cup out and watch from their TVs at home. With economic conditions as well as the soaring ticket prices and travel restrictions, so many factors go into why a lot of people are deciding to just completely opt out. The cost of tickets, the cost of traveling, the cost of hotels. Yeah, that adds up really quick. But it's the World Cup. It only happens once in 4 years. For many, many fans, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. And no matter the cost, they will pay. No matter the distance, they will travel.